Welcome to the Holistic Nutrition Podcast. Today I'm excited to have Alisa on the podcast with us today to talk about business coaching and mistakes that entrepreneurs can make within their nutrition business. Alisa is a mother of 4, which is exciting, and a passionate educator who believes that when we all grow, we become better, and that's what we need to move forward within the nutrition world. So hop on the podcast today to find out more. I guess this is a good segue into who you are and how you started. So maybe you can just jump in and share, with me, but also with everybody listening, where you started and, how it kind of developed and changed for you.
Absolutely.
I think that is a really important story that is missing when we go to school, or, if you're taking an online course, it's just not really said by other nutritionists, how much work it can take to arrive at a point to be happy. Like you said, you were miserable, and I was too when I was consulting. So I fully understand, that statement 100%.
So my background, I started out in healthcare. So I was a young mom and thought I wanted to go into the nursing route, and had started bridging through. So in Canada, we have something called personal support worker, which is like a nurse's aide. So I had done that and was in the process of bridging through to nursing, and worked in the community and in long-term care, and I saw so many people who were suffering from preventable disease.
Yeah.
I saw heart attacks and strokes that could have been prevented, mismanaged diabetes, inflammatory conditions. And I was just when I would talk to these people as this frontline worker about did nobody tell you what you should and shouldn't be eating and that sort of thing. And there was just, the answer was well, they gave me guidelines, or I couldn't stick to it, or there was no follow-up or no support. And so I ended up dropping out of this idea of working in healthcare, really sick care, and wanted to get into health promotion and decided to become a nutritionist. So that was how I transitioned.
Right.
I've been teaching nutrition now for 15 years.
Wow.
And I've spent the last 13 years specializing in nutritional therapy for people with cancer. So work with a lot of different diseases, seen thousands of clients, had big corporate accounts, taught at different colleges. So I've kind of done all the different things that nutritionists can do.
That's good, because that's one of our questions, as you know.
Yes.
That's it's interesting, like I said, how it transpires into I'll rephrase this, the way that you have your job lead you in a way down a path that solidifies where you're meant to be in the nutrition world. And one of the biggest questions that we got at CSNN when I was working in administration was with the incoming students asking all the time, well, what jobs can a nutritionist get? And so we would say the whole spiel, but you've just named a whole bunch. But that's something I wanted to talk about, because a lot of potential students have no idea what we really do. We work with food, but it doesn't have to be just that. Look at the platform I've created. It's still in the nutrition world, but it's not directly related to consulting one-on-one or something like that. So maybe my question for you is why you chose to do business consulting and coaching as well as still maintaining a practice?
For sure. I think that's a great question. So there really is, it's kind of a huge scope of practice. There's so many different areas that us as nutritionists can go into. And I find that, just teaching at the nutrition college and working with, other nutritionists from all over the world, I feel like your niche market kind of finds you. Yes. You'll find something that you just are super passionate about. We're capable of working with a lot of different things, but the reality is we'll kind of find, that niche market for us. And that's really, I've dabbled and tried. I like teaching. I like teaching other people how to grow successful businesses. That, gives me a lot of gratification from that. I like entrepreneurship because of the ability to pick and choose what I say yes to or no to. And I do maintain a practice because I do like that one-on-one. but it's really about, what do I want it to look like? And when I was first building my business, I didn't understand how important it was for me to know exactly what I wanted it to look like. And it ended up becoming incredibly successful, but very, very overwhelming. And it was, putting me into practitioner burnout. It was robbing me of time with my family. And then I had this enormous amount of stress and pressure of trying to juggle all of these balls. So, it is possible to be successful, but you really want to know what exactly you want it to look like as you're doing that.
Yeah, that's something, when I'm talking to graduates or, people who are coming to me for advice, I always say, like, pick the thing that feels the most authentic to you, not only in your business, but also in your life. Because if you're picking something that doesn't feel right, you're going to hit that wall, and you're not going to want to continue to do it and not continue to grow your business. So that's definitely one of the top 3 for me, not following your heart, because I think we're all kind of geared when we're in school to head down that consulting path, but not really told that, we can take the other routes that are available to us, or whatever we want to create out of it too, So that, I think, for me, is one of the top 3 mistakes that people, might make, is just thinking that they have to do a consulting practice once they're out of school and not picking something else. So do you want to share with me what you think your top 3 mistakes are that other coaches make?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I wrote them down because I was like, I got 3 that really stand out. So number 1 mistake, because obviously I teach the business program. So I get a lot of people who've been in practice for a while, not having a lot of success, and then they end up in the business program, as well as new grads who just haven't had that experience yet. So the first mistake, like so many of us make, and I know, like, I probably check all 3 mistakes. So I've learned through them, is assuming people will come to you. Is making that assumption that just by existing, your audience is going to come to you. And that's not true. As health practitioners, we have to position ourselves to be a person of trust, to have relationships, to build up that trust, especially in our community. And then online, it's even more difficult. You've got to add value and be willing to give time and energy to help other people. And when you do that and you stand out and you are adding value and you are helping people, you'll find that will attract your audience. But a lot of my audience is me actually, and clients and stuff, a lot of times is me actively promoting my business and my services, or a workshop or a course. These things don't fill on accident. So I think there's a little bit of this, like, I'll put it out there and I hope I get enough people. And it's like, no, you gotta, like, you cannot assume that people will come to you. The second thing is not having a business plan. I see so many practitioners that really struggle for years and years, never quite become profitable, maybe never build a full-time income. And it's because they just don't, you have to have a business plan. Like, no profitable business operates without knowing how they're marketing, where their pricing is, knowing who their audience is. And that's, like, in the business course I teach, that's actually what I teach. What I'm actually teaching is how to build and develop your business plan, but in a way where it can evolve over time. My business is where it started 15 years ago to where it is now. It's completely different. It doesn't even, the only thing the same is me.
Well, and that's a really excellent point, is that it evolves with you as you evolve with your business. I mean, like you said, for me, I went from consulting. I hated consulting. I had burnout. I couldn't handle the emotional energy that it took, because I'm very empathetic, and, like, I couldn't bridge that gap.
I get it.
And then I started a meal prep company, which boomed, and I had 4 people working with me, and I was like, oh, it just happened so fast. And then we moved, and like, the hub was in there too. And so it's the journey is really something that people need to embrace and be ready for. So I guess my question on the business plan part is, like, how in depth do you think people should be going when they're creating their business plan? I err more on the side of making it as simple as possible, you know, not doing like the whole like analytic, like crazy, I'm going to the bank to get a loan kind of business plan. But like you said, finding your niche, knowing how you're going to market, your goals, where you want to be in certain stages in a year, 5 years, etc. So that's for me kind of where I start off with. But you know, like for you, like how in depth would you say most people need to be?
Well, a little bit more in that, you know, it definitely doesn't have to be bank in depth, because, you know, there's a lot of unpredictability that happens in being in business as it is. And I think when we get rigid with our business plan, we can kind of get stuck in expectation of this is how it's supposed to look. In the reality is it's going to have a life of its own. It's going to look the way it looks, right? So I think it's, like knowing who your niche market is, like who is your audience, who are you speaking to, who are you adding value to? You know, pricing structure is really important as well. Like how much is your business making? How much are you making? You know, what is getting put aside for, you know, savings? Understanding the seasons that your business might go through. So like, what are going to be your busy seasons? What are going to be your slow seasons? What are you going to run? What are you going to do during these times? Like, you know, that like kind of having that kind of a plan in place. And then you have your marketing. How are you sharing on social media? What are going to be your platforms? What is the message that your audience needs to have? You know, are you going to do blog articles? Are you going, you know what, like, are you going to write programs? Like, are you going to run programs? Are you going to do workshops? Like, it's just, you need to have an idea of what it's going to look like, because then you can create a game plan. And if you have a game plan, you can be like, okay, May's coming up. This is the program I'm launching. Right. And this, like May is, for example, really great weight loss time of the year here in Canada. So,
you know what, I think it's everywhere. Everybody's like, shed the winter fat and get ready for swim suits.
Exactly. So, you know, so here we are thinking, okay, so May's May's a really busy season typically for myself. So here's what I'm going to launch and run, and this is what it's going to look like in May. And then as June hits and we get into more of, you know, maintenance over the summer, here's what it's going to look like. And that's what a business plan does, is it allows you to have kind of, you know what you're leading into, you know what you're focusing on. And the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs have, it's just part of being in business, is that inconsistency in income.
Right.
And if you have a proper functioning business plan, and it really has to match who you are. And that's why when I started studying business, there was nothing for health practitioners. There was nothing in the holistic industry at all, which was why I developed the course, is because I had built a successful business. And I thought we need to teach people in our industry how to do that. And that's where that course actually comes from. But it's building that stable revenue. And that only comes if you have a game plan in place, and your game plan is your business plan.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the income can be the part that's tricky for people, because you almost, especially when you're first starting out, like, I mean, I would say the majority of people when they're first starting out are going to be doing, you know, part-time nutrition, part-time another business or another job.
Agreed, yeah.
So that they can make ends meet. And that leap towards, you know, jumping full speed into your nutrition business is a very scary one for most people. And I think, at least for me, when I was starting out, that was probably one of the biggest barriers for me in a way to be successful, because I was so scared of putting the faith and the knowledge that I had actually acquired into practice. And, you know, it's probably not until this year that I guess so, that I'm fully at home running my business and really going for it. And I think that can make the difference, is like putting your whole mind, body, soul into your practice, I think can be really important in terms of income.
I agree. It's my success didn't happen until I was willing to make that leap. And I left a healthcare job with a pension.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And it is scary, but you know, there is a little bit of jumping and building your wings on the way down that's required in business. And, you know, one of the things I've learned, you know, in building, like, cause I have a couple different revenue streams, and in building all of those revenue streams, necessity will make you successful. And if you have that cushion, a lot of times you won't do the things that you like that make you uncomfortable. You won't step outside your comfort zone. But the moment necessity is attached to it, you are like, okay, what do I need to do?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's a common goal, I think, that most parents go through, or most people who are living independently from their families learn really quickly, is that you will make money no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've never not paid my bills. Like, that's never been the case. So as scary as it is to take that leap and to jump forward, I mean, somehow something always has happened to make me feel like, okay, I'm good. We can keep doing this. And it just gets better and better and better. And like you said, it's like a bit of faith, and you'll catch yourself as you fall. So I do think that's important. And just, I want to touch on income again, just because I think that teaching people too how to like set aside money when they have a good month, like, hey, I made $2,000 more than I anticipated. I'm going to tuck that away for, December, when everybody's on holiday and they're not coming to you at all. So I think that's just important to touch on as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I totally agree. And in the business program, I actually teach fee structure, so that you're actually taking your fee and identifying, well, based on this is the percentage that has to go back into my business for those slow times or for those overhead costs. Here's the percentage that I need to get paid. And then here's that percentage that goes into savings. And then, like you said, if there's an additional, what is that? What are you going to do with that? Because a lot of times, as nutritionists and health practitioners, we live so client to client that when things slow down, all of a sudden we got to go get a job, or we're out of the industry. And I've seen so many really brilliant individuals give up because of that inconsistency.
Yeah. And I think it takes, to a certain extent, I think it does take an entrepreneurial,
totally
mindset, and you have mindset, and you have to be ready for those moments that are, challenging and difficult, and just trust in the process. And as you get more successful, it becomes a little bit easier, but so
do you want my third?
I do. I was just going to ask you. So excited. I'm ready for the third one.
So the third one's a big one, and it's the one where it's like, I'm not going to sell anything. Okay. If you are in business, if you have services, you are selling something. All right. So I talk a lot, and I have an entire webinar that I've done on products and services. And the reason is that we really should have, and you can choose whatever product line aligns with who you are and how you want to distribute it and how you're compensated. But products and services as practitioners is incredibly important. There's no business that should be without them, without both. And I get practitioners all the time in the business course that are like, well, I don't want to sell products. I don't want people to feel like I'm selling them something. I just want to give them my services. Now, the reality is you're selling them your services. Yeah. And the reason I believe so firmly in products and services is because that's how you create a stable income. When I just did services, just did consulting, corporate programs, I would make good money. But the moment I took a break or didn't have new clients, I didn't have any income coming in. Whereas when you carry a product line, you have that income during those times. So product lines with your services allows you an upsell, so you can increase your revenue per client. But also your products are how you hold relationships with people. So when I see somebody, nobody is going to come to me in May and go, oh my gosh, I hope I need 3 weight loss programs from Alisa. Right? They're coming, they're like, she's going to fix me in 4 weeks. I know it.
If you can do that, I am in.
It's not possible, but this is the mindset. Like, our clients are not coming to us hoping that they have to continually buy programs from us. They really are looking for a solution. They trust us enough to allow us to be that person to coach and guide them. And when that program is done, really, you want to still hold a relationship. And I find that with my products, that's how I hold a relationship with my clients, because I can do customer care, I can follow up, I can restock them. I might only see them for 1 workshop, 1 program a year, but they'll buy my products every single month. Right. So products are that place. And, when I run workshops, I travel and speak all over Canada. And a lot of times I'll run a workshop when I land in certain cities, and I will get a whole bunch of customers that were past clients that are the first ones in line to get to join these workshops, these paid for workshops. Whereas if my relationship with them had ended when the program ended,
they wouldn't have a connection. Yeah. So,
yeah. So
do you have an example of the types of products that you're talking about?
So health supplements for sure. Like I want to combine health supplements with what I do. I work with the Juice Plus company because the company ships directly to my customers and they have a really great guarantee. As a health practitioner, it's also clinically backed.
Right.
And you know, so there's some boxes that product line checked. You know, do your research, find something that resonates with who you are. I work with cancer. It was a product line I could use with my clients during chemotherapy.
For sure.
So you want to find something that, you know, if consumables good, because again, they're going to need more of their shakes or more of their supplements. Right. And just finding something that really, you know, works for you as a practitioner. And then from there you can wrap. So I have customer care programs around my products. I run a group of, you know, about 1,700 people that, you know, the moment I want to launch a workshop or sell a class or a course, I can launch it there first and fill it if I wanted to.
Right.
Right. So I did, for example, a nutrition and mental health event last night. And, you know, we had 70 people on
That's amazing.
in
Wow.
just a few days notice. And, you know, that's the example of that relationship piece. I can still do my services. I can still teach. I can still consult. I can do all of that. But my audience is held through the product line that you choose, really.
Well, and it's a great way to potentially have more referrals too, right? You're less
Absolutely.
likely to have somebody be like, oh, Alisa helped me lose weight. Hey, so and so, you also need to get on this. But
yes,
they can say, oh, I use this product, I really enjoy it, you should come check it out. And I think you're very right in saying that the product is a great way of holding your audience. I agree with you.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, you know, some people, like you said, will come through the product door and end up becoming clients.
Yeah.
So it might have been, you know, they were just looking for a smoothie and then they ended up, you know, becoming a client or on your next detox or in your next course. And then you get people that are going to come through that client door that then end up on your product. So you're really attracting, you got 2 doors for people to come in, and you're finding ways to help them to hold that relationship with them and just continue to be that person for them. You know, these group members, I'm the person for them.
Yeah. That's initially like probably one reason why I moved more towards meal prep for my clients. You know, it was a nutrition-based meal prep where I would go into their home, prepare meals for them on a weekly basis. And, you know, it was a way for me to interact with the client on a weekly basis, know that they're most likely going to be sticking to the plan because the food is in the fridge, and having that face-to-face interaction with them, like super personal. You're in their space, you're selling a product, but you know, it's a product and a service all at the same time, like you mentioned, and it works really well. You know, like I still have a couple clients who are now friends. Like we travel together now. And so in terms of fulfillment, it feels so much better because I know that practitioners often will feel like, oh, this person gave me money, they haven't succeeded in the program, or they didn't follow through, and now I've got all this money, but they haven't gotten anything out of it. And then also, you know, your own creative juices can be in a way almost nullified because this person isn't taking it as seriously as you hoped, and you put all this energy into it. Whereas like a product and a service mixture kind of allows you to have both of those things without, you know, feeling much of that, I don't know what the word would be, anxiety around it or disconnection almost.
Well, I think there's a lot of, sorry, I see my internet's not stable. All right. There's a lot of pressure when you are just a service-based business to keep the faucet on full speed. You're constantly trying to attract new clients, you know, and we never want to stop attracting new people. Don't get me wrong. Like I always want new people, but when you're service-based, that has to be on, the faucet has to be on full speed. when you add a product line, you're plugging the tub. You're giving a reason for these guys to hang around, right? You still naturally, your business will still naturally exfoliate, but you're plugging the tubs. You don't have to necessarily keep that faucet on full speed. You can start to look after all the people that you have, which I believe as practitioners is our job. Our job is to lead people and guide them and be a support system for them, however that looks for you. And I'm able to really successfully do that and build a very, very healthy income just from that one stream, you know, by having good quality products that my clients want to use, you know, month after month.
Right. Yeah, it's a great piece of advice, I think, for people starting out. And it's a great way too, like when somebody is first starting out, maybe they're not comfortable consulting, but the product itself gives them a way of, you know, reaching out to people and saying, hey, like, this is a great product, and then maybe start practicing in consulting after that part.
Absolutely.
I'm just seeing that your internet is choppy.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. Let me just make sure my mom is not on it.
Mom, get off the internet.
Doesn't matter how old you are, you would still text your mom.
I'm on the phone. Teenage life. Eh?
I have 4 children at home, so I was like, you know what, I can go have coffee with my mom and do my work here, and but I'll just double check, and I don't think she is, so let me know if it gets worse again.
Yeah, no, it seems to be okay right now. Anyway, so that's a good segue. So you started off, like you said, in healthcare. What made you transition over to become a cancer practitioner? Because that's pretty, I feel like for me, like I said, energetically, I don't know if I could do it.
You know, it wasn't something I thought I wanted, to be honest. So I had a functioning practice, and when I would get people with cancer that would contact, I would like send them to a naturopath. Like I was not confident in any way in doing that, in working with people with cancer. My mother-in-law ended up diagnosed, and because of my healthcare background and then being a nutritionist, she got diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, and it was a very, very aggressive form of cancer by the time we had discovered it. Right. And she really kind of didn't want to make a decision without me being a part of that. And we had a really close relationship. So I just thought, okay, you know what, I need to dig into this. So I just started researching and reading and learning about treatments, like the medical treatments. And unfortunately, she did pass, but in that, she had gifted me with this passion to help people go through this process. Because if there's not advocates out there talking to us about what we should be eating and supporting us, and just, you know, these natural health practitioners in our corner, if there's not people there, then all of these people that are being diagnosed are being left unsupported.
Right.
So I chose to specialize in that. I spent years and years studying, reading, taking courses, and then I was already teaching the business program at Edison Institute of Nutrition. And Lynne Hinton is one of the owners, and we got onto this conversation around both of us have a very strong mutual passion for helping people through the cancer process. And we just thought, you know what, we need to teach it. So we've been teaching it now, I think 6 or 7 years. And the goal of this course is really just to equip natural health practitioners and build their confidence and help them understand, because every cancer client, their case is very unique. Their treatment protocols are very unique. A lot of times you're working alongside medical treatments, which can be very difficult on our clients' bodies. So we just wanted to create a program that allowed practitioners to have that confidence.
Right. And this is a continuing education program through Edison, correct?
It is.
Online.
Yeah, and it counts. Yeah, absolutely. It's online. So we do have students log in internationally. It runs over 3 months, and we do virtual classes and case studies, and then there's videos and text. It's an intense program, but the students graduate feeling so knowledgeable, and just their confidence grows. And we're really equipping practitioners to support a very vulnerable part of our society right now. Cancer diagnoses are climbing, at an incredibly scary rate. And we talk not just about how to work with people through cancer, but how to put cancer prevention in all your programs, how to educate on that. So it's really equipping practitioners to be able to have conversations around the prevention end, but also to help individuals navigate, that process.
It's really interesting. I do agree with you. Like, obviously cancer is increasing very, very quickly. I mean, most of us know somebody or who has lost somebody. I just lost my stepfather last year to cancer, lung cancer, very aggressive. By the time they found it, it was 3 months from start to finish. So in those cases, like, I don't know if there was anything that we could have done at that point. But it is a pretty, for me, it's very, it's hard work, and I really commend you for it, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And sometimes it's not about curing. Like, we definitely have clients who have amazing recoveries, because what nutrition does is it doesn't necessarily treat the cancer. What nutrition does is it provides the body with the ability to heal and repair. Right. And, sometimes, like, we see full recoveries a lot, but we also, I've never had a client, even with late stage terminal cancer, not have an improvement in quality of life, whether that life was extended or the symptoms were reduced, or, that the power, that healing power of what we put into our body. So, the more people that we can have equipped to do this, we could potentially, with this knowledge, have a massive impact on the future cancer rates if we're teaching prevention.
Right.
It's believed 80% of cancers are preventable.
Right.
So we could have a huge impact on prevention. We could have a huge impact on survival, and we can definitely have a huge impact on quality of life for these people.
Right. Yeah. And how much you touched on integrating some of these protocols or information that you learn in this course into your regular practice. Like, are you talking about like increased antioxidants and stuff like that?
So it's really focusing on that whole food, plant-based diet. So teaching people the healing power of plants, not making them vegetarian or vegans if they're not ready to go there. But helping them to get, 80% of their calories from the plant kingdom, to, help them to navigate healthy eating without eating processed foods, to talk to them about the different dimensions of health, that mental, emotional piece, that spiritual piece, the environmental piece, the toxicity piece, so it really comes from all kinds of different areas. But the foundation is, if your nutrition is poor, you can have healthy thoughts, you can clean with natural cleaning stuff, but your nutrition is your foundation of health. Like, every single function of your body requires a nutrient to be present, and the quality of your nutrition builds that strong foundation so that you can have, good fancy windows and doors in your house, which are the other pieces. So it's really just getting that foundational, steering away from fad diets, and really teaching people about lifestyle, teaching them about what we know prevents disease, and helping them to integrate it. Because a lot of times our clients are coming to us with fast-paced, high-stressed, crazy busy lives, and that's why you were doing food prep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so these guys are coming to us, and it's like, okay, like, there's like 10 things that need to change, but let's start here, and here's why. And as practitioners, our job is to educate our clients. We want to leave them better off than when we met them. And we only do that if we share knowledge and equip them to make better choices.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I think, is one of my biggest takeaways as a coach or as a consultant is, like, how can I present the information that I know in a bite-sized way that my client is actually going to understand it? And one thing that I learned when I was consulting was, we get this idea from, when we do our case studies at school, that we just, here's our package, have it, I'm here if you need me. But it's really not that simple. Like, it's, here's a bite-sized piece of information, master that, please. And then we'll go on to moving on to the next stage, because nutrition is 80%, I think, of wellness, and then movement and stress reduction and the mind-body connection. Like you said, Sean and I actually, Sean's a personal trainer. And so we have many discussions about what's more important, nutrition or exercise. But we
nutrition
have
by far.
100%. I always win on this one. Because we made this diagram, you know, stress up in one corner, nutrition, exercise, and I can't remember what the fourth one is. But it always kind of led back to nutrition, because if you're stressed out, that's cool, but you need to be taking stuff to kind of counteract that, and eating over in the nutrition section, you know, and your movement's you're not gonna recover as well. And there's so many parts to it, you know, like what we put in our body. I mean, we're preaching to the choir here. We're preaching to nutritionists, but I mean, for me, it's like what you put in your body is exactly how it's gonna, you know, how your whole worldview is gonna change in a way. It's really, nutrition's quite the rabbit hole, really, you know, like
it is. You
dive in and you mention, you know, toxins, and then you start finding out what's put on your food and in your food.
And that's where, like, if you have a good product line and you have, like, I just have a system set up for customer care with the product line. And that includes, you know, lots of lifestyle education. So a program is kind of like, if you're working with someone one-on-one, it's like they're taking a course. It's like an intense 4-week, 6-week course with you. And then you're going to move them into kind of that maintenance, but you're going to continue to still feed them. You're going to keep giving them education. And that's why if your business ends at your service, you're really only just kind of scratching the surface with your clients. You're not having the impact that you could have if you can transition them into a place where you're just holding that relationship and continuing that education.
For sure. I think that's probably, like, for me, I mean, that definitely resonates with me. I never looked at my meal prep as more than a service, but in a way it would have been that thing to hang on to the client week after week after week.
That's right.
So it's a good way of looking at it. I've never looked at it that way. So thank you for that. It's
You're welcome.
Great advice. So on that, what's your one piece of advice, or what did I say here? I had a thing. Well, anyways, what's the one piece of advice, or you know, that could blow somebody's mind?
What did I write down? Because I liked this question this morning. So I wrote down, success comes from having a plan and consistently working it.
Yes.
So, you know, it's, if you really want to build this to a full-time income, you know, I've been very blessed by this industry. I've been able to put my kids in private school. I've been able to, you know, live in the country in our dream home. I've been able to bring my husband home full time. So he's you know, I was able to gift our kids with their dad. And, you know, this is 15 years. Like, don't judge my chapter 15 to your chapter 1 for sure. Right. Yeah. But the only thing, when I look back at what allowed me to get to this point, it was definitely a lot of resiliency, and it was definitely a lot of, you know, having vision and just being, you know, prepared to do the work to reach the destination. Because, you know, I'm living what my goals were 15 years ago.
Right.
But I think it's that, you know, you will not achieve the success you're looking for, or you may only achieve temporary success if you don't have a plan in place, a game plan in place, you know, that's going to get you towards that destination. And if you're just not willing to be consistent, you know, success does not come from touching your business once or twice a week. Success comes from touching your business every single day, and from having income producing activities and having a game plan that's in place. And I think that's been the only reason that I've been as blessed as I have been in this industry and been able to impact as many people as I've been able to impact, which is true to who I am. I just want to have impact. I want to change lives and educate people and motivate them. And there's been a lot of tough times. There was a lot of times, I remember at one point my husband was like, you need to get a job.
That's usually me in our conversations between our husband. It's like, I need to get a job. This isn't working.
like I'm unemployable. You got to understand this. Like,
I can't have any other job.
It's not going to work. But, so success, it comes from, hitting those challenging times and just figuring out how to get through them. Because what happens is, as you grow, your business grows. You are the lid on your business, right? So if you're a 4, your business will never exceed a 3. But if you can grow and stay consistent and, do that personal development and have that game plan and get to a 5, your business goes to a 4. And when you get to a 6, your business goes to a 5. And just understanding that, it sometimes isn't instant gratification. Most often it's not. And I know a lot of people look at other successful practitioners. They're like, oh, tell me how you did it. Well, I worked every single day.
Yeah.
And I had a game plan in place and I knew what I was working towards.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that would be kind of my advice.
That's a good one. I think too many of us go into this thinking that, everything's going to come to us on a little silver spoon. Like you said, people are going to come to us and we expect them, we expect them to. We have the knowledge, they're going to come to us, but it is really going out there, offering workshops, webinars, connecting with other practitioners. Social media is a huge one. Instagram is, for us anyways, is like a huge place where we have a great following. It's about the right age bracket. So knowing which social media to use too, depending on what your specialization is. There's so many little pieces that you learn along the way. And until you actually invest the time in it, you don't really see how all these little pieces work. Here's an example. I'll give an example. Facebook, we haven't done much on Facebook because we were moving to Switzerland from Canada, and I was working just to try and learn French and all of these things, and we hadn't done much work on the hub or anything, and so I started just posting once or twice in the last week, and we got 40 new followers just from organic traffic, posting and it popping up on somebody's feed, and they're like, oh. And I think the part that we kind of forget is that new people are going to start looking at our stuff, there's a whole, between last year and this year, there's a whole slew of people who have just graduated in nutrition or whatever. And so to tap into these different markets and make sure that you stay on top of them, because that's really important. And again, it's maintaining that relationship. What can you give to these people in the interim that are going to hold them, with us in a way?
Absolutely. Well, and sometimes it's like growing. It's like your children growing, kids have growth spurts and stuff. Like, you don't necessarily see it until you look back and you're like, wow, over the last 6 months, like, wow, so give yourself permission to recognize where you've done well and what's working. And, I think as entrepreneurs, and sometimes, it's just as individuals, we can be hard on ourselves and, I'm not where I want to be yet, but make sure you're taking, into consideration how far you've come, those little accomplishments, a new client here, a new program, or new following on social media. I personally, I don't use Instagram very often. Facebook's my jam. That's where all my mom friends are. But, I've been able to run incredibly successful programs through Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Where, I'll be like, hey, who wants to do a 21-day sugar detox? And there's 250 people in that group in 12 hours. And now I have this captive audience to build a relationship with. So you're right. Your platform will be different depending on who you are and how you're showing up. Comparison will take the joy out of your business. Looking at how somebody else is, will totally, and trying to copy other people. Pay attention, learn from them, but make it your own.
Yes. 100%. I mean, Sean and I, in both of our businesses, I mean, between the two of us, we've started 6 different businesses now, but it's
amazing.
Yeah, it's just like you said, like we said at the beginning, it's like how it transforms and what it turns into, and what we've learned and all of these things. what was I going to say? Sorry, I have fibromyalgia and my fibro brain catches on, and I'm like, I don't know what I was actually going to say.
It's okay. I got products for that. I'll throw you in my group.
Thank you. Just send me an email. I did have coffee to help with that, but anyways, we'll just leave that.
I got it.
Out of the.
It's fine. It was good.
There we go. So I'm going to ask you, what is your, I never included this in our notes for this morning, but we'll start with, what's your least favorite part about coaching?
Ooh, I think my least favorite part is when someone's not willing to do the work and they want to blame everyone else for it. And that's hard. Like, we all have stuff, we all have programs. So I don't take it personally. You know, if someone didn't get results in my program, I don't, it's not my fault. Like, I know what I'm teaching is scientifically proven, and I'm here to offer support. I heard a little bit for them that they're not achieving the results. I see a lot of people sabotage their results. So they'll start to get really, really great results. And then, you know, because they're growing and evolving, they throw the brakes on it. And that's hard to watch as well. Yeah. You know, some people think they want to be well or want to lose weight until they start to. So I think that's probably my least favorite, but I've learned to recognize that it's actually not about me.
Yeah, I think that was where I struggled with consulting as well, as, you know, somebody coming to you being seemingly ready, you being there for them and ready for them and offering your services to them, and then having it in a way backfire because you almost feel like that responsibility is on you. Like, what did I not offer them? You know, what psychologically did I miss? There's so many little pieces to it. And it can really hit you in a negative way, but then if you can create that space between yourself and the person that you're consulting with, it's, I think, really important to acknowledge that it's has absolutely nothing to do with you, like you said, or me or anybody. You know, if somebody's really ready, they're going to be ready. There's the 20% that are just never going to be ready. There's the 80% that you can maybe get to do 20, 70, and then the 10 that actually are successful with you and work. I was like, wait, math doesn't add here. So yeah, like I think that is a really important part of it. And I think something that we don't talk enough about when we discuss, you know, our relationships with clients when we're working, you know, business coaching or whatever, is just saying, like, there is a negative side to this, and there is work that you need to do on yourself too, in order to prepare yourself to be ready to consult with somebody.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's some hard conversations, and if you're afraid of confrontation, I don't have that problem. So like, I've never had a problem being to say it as it is, but I understand, like, you know, the difficulty in navigating those conversations, especially when somebody's disappointed and they want to reflect that disappointment on you, when the reality is they're disappointed in themselves. That's tough. It's really tough. It is probably my least favorite, but it's part of the business. Yeah, exactly. I think being connected to other practitioners is really important in curbing that negative emotion. As long as you're not connecting with people who want to roll around in the mud with you. That's one thing I've learned. You have to find people that want to give you a ladder and get you out of the hole. Versus people who want to roll around in the mud. So just, you know, when you're having those conversations and looking for those support, I have an amazing support system, and I got friends that will call me on my stuff and they'll be like, really, Alyssa? Yes. But I need that in my life, because if I get stuck hanging out in the mud, I'm going to continue to attract that energy into my business and attract those situations. Whereas if I can learn and have people that are going to help me rise above it, those situations show up less often in my business. Yeah. And I think that's something, you know, I'm fortunate because Sean, you know, works on his business at home, and we are both rah, and we can figure out what we're doing together or coach each other, which is really positive, because that's cool. It's just right here. But you know, if I did CSNN online, and I didn't really feel like I connected with anybody who was also taking the program, but like you said, I was fortunate to have already worked in
in a wellness sphere where I had friends or I had people who were already in the industry, and a lot of them weren't practicing for all the reasons that we touched on before.
Totally.
But finding those people who are like, I really believe in you, and have, you know, backup. And it doesn't have to be another nutritionist. It can be, like you said, somebody
Totally.
can call you on your BS and be like, this isn't you. Like, come on, like you've got this. And this one client really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. You know, just let it go and have it. And, you know, if they give you a bad review, they give you a bad review. And you say, well, too bad. Like, this is just life, you know?
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So then that's the negative one, but I wanted to leave off on your favorite part of being a coach.
I think it's impact. I went into healthcare because I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And I've definitely been very lucky to be able to touch a lot of lives in this career. I get to travel and speak and lecture and, you know, be online and run programs. And none of that is about my ego. None of that is about, oh, you know, look at what I've accomplished. It's, to me, at the end of the day, it's knowing that a mom is equipped to make better choices for her kids. Somebody who's sick is now, you know, feeling more empowered and in control, less fearful around a situation. Teaching other practitioners how to go out there and be successful, because that's like the army of wellness warriors that are out there doing the work that we know our society so desperately needs. So to me, my favorite part is just knowing that the work that I'm doing is really having a positive impact on lives of other people. And I think as entrepreneurs, you know, the work, or even just as individuals, even if you're an employee, the work, we're supposed to be helping people. We're supposed to be showing up for, you know, our community. And this is such a great opportunity to do so, you know, through wellness and inspiring people. And, you know, at the end of the day, if you've done your job, you've positively impacted someone.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. I mean, ultimately, I think why a lot of us, I mean, I would say one of two things. You're either coming into this industry to help people, or because of your own health issues, to then turn around and help those people within that sphere. You know, and when I first started the hub, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be, you know, impacting people the same way. But then I was like, well, yeah, you are, because you're literally helping every nutritionist help all those people. Yes, I am totally helping everyone then. And it's a lot more rewarding for me in a way to offer this support to other nutritionists, you know, from the mistakes I've made, and really hope that the, you know, maybe 80% of practitioners that don't continue on to have a business, to hopefully help them succeed, because then, you know, we can become a, you know, more regulated industry and be recognized by more, you know, governing bodies, or people who just think we're snake oil salespeople. You know, just to really solidify, you know, what we know and what we feel is right in our industry. So that
I agree. Absolutely. And you guys provide such a cool service in that you're taking a lot of the work, the time work out of running a successful practice. That's what I loved when I looked at your business. I was like, oh, this is so, like, if this had been around 15 years ago, I probably would have been more successful more quickly, because all of this work that you guys are doing, like, you are simplifying how to run a successful business. And that's cool.
Yeah. And thank you so much. That's really, I think the biggest challenge for me was, you know, okay, so you look at pricing your business and how much money you need to be making per hour after all of your expenses, right? And by the time you've put together your meal plan and you don't have automation in any way, shape, or form, how many hours did you just lose there? You know, you have to revise the meal plan, revise the recipe thing, revise all of these things. And so that's actually one of the biggest things that I coach is, you know, you may be putting money out front in terms of the automation aspect of it, but the amount of money that you're going to make back from using these services, whether it be, you know, the hub, I'm just going to plug that there, meal planning application, accounting software, you know, it's probably not necessary when you have 10 clients, But once you have more, those things are going to save you miles of time. And time is money. Like, I hate that saying in a way, but
it's true.
It's true. So,
yeah.
You know,
well, you can be busy working in your business, or you can be busy working on your business.
Yeah.
And they're two different. The on your business will make you money. The in your business will keep things going.
Yeah, 100%. And that's how you, in the end up being successful, is
that's right.
Being able to take that shift, you know, like don't be in it, be on it. And you got it. That's awesome.
You got it. Amazing. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. That was an awesome talk. I really enjoyed listening to you.